This is the story of the state of Odisha. Odisha is widely renowned across the country for its rich cultural heritage, traditional arts, and ancient temples that have stood the test of time. The temples here truly enhance the splendor of Odisha. Bhubaneswar, which is the capital city of the Indian state of Odisha, is famously known as the city of temples. But what if I told you that even in such a religious place, there are numerous haunted tales? Just like a coin has two sides, every place also has two sides to its story. I've shared one side of Odisha with you, but now let's delve into the eerie and haunted tales of Odisha that will send shivers down your spine. This story is shared with us by Sagnika. Thanks Sagnika for sharing your story. And if any of you also want to share your story, you can send it to the provided Gmail address. Sagnika is a highly ambitious young woman who has recently secured a position at a prestigious and well-respected company. However, the company where she got the job is quite far from Sagnika's home. Sagnika spends the first week commuting from home, and by the end of the week she realizes that she can't keep doing this every day. Finally, Sagnika makes the decision to move to an area close to the company, and that's exactly what ends up happening. She starts looking for a PG accommodation the following week. Sagnika had never been away from her family before in her entire life. This was her very first time. There was a kind of restlessness in her heart, but she didn't have any other option. She wasn't able to travel every single day. At this moment, Sagnika is having a conversation with the brokers in that area. A broker who seemed genuine to her talked to her more, and she went with him to see a few PGs. The broker showed her all the PGs one by one, but unfortunately, they were all very expensive. This was Sagnika's first job, which meant that her salary wasn't high enough to afford such pricey PG accommodations. Sagnika asked the broker to show her a more affordable PG, inquiring if he has any PGs available at a lower price point and without too many amenities. "I will manage, but it should be a bit cheaper." The broker paused to think for a moment and then said, "Fourth, ma'am, I have one PG available, but I'm not entirely sure if it's the right place for you to stay." Sagnika replied confidently, "Don't worry, I can manage. Please take me there." The broker then proceeded to take Sagnika to that PG accommodation. Sagnika was expecting it to be an old, inexpensive PG because obviously if it's inexpensive, its maintenance wouldn't be great. But when Sagnika goes with the broker, she is completely taken aback. The PG was very nice and well maintained, featuring spacious rooms that were quite comfortable. In fact, out of all the PGs that Sagnika had seen so far, this particular one was by far the best. Sagnika tells the broker, "This is a very nice PG. Are you sure the prices will go down?" The broker tells Sagnika, "Don't worry, I know the owner here. I will talk to them once and come back. Meanwhile, you can take a tour of the area around the PG. This PG has 3 floors: ground floor, first floor, second floor, and third floor. Each floor in the building has 6 rooms and 2 girls are allowed to stay in each room. The PG owner will come to meet Sagnika in a little while. They say that there is only 1 room available here at the moment. You are able to move in there." Sagnika asks the owner, "Your PG is really beautiful, so why is it so cheap?" The owner then explains that the broker knows them well and mentioned that Sagnika urgently needs a place to stay, and that too at a low price. So the owner decided to help by giving this room to Sagnika at a low price so she can comfortably spend her time here. So all thanks to that, the broker had now found a good PG for Sagnika, and that too at a very low price. Now, Sagnika moves into the room at the far corner on the 3rd floor, room number 306. As Sagnika was moving in, many girls were staring at her. Maybe because she was new here, everyone was looking at her, wondering who she was and what her story might be. Sagnika ignores all these things and just goes to her room. She starts settling into her room, placing things here and there and cleaning everything. After about 3 hours, she is settled and the whole day has already passed. It was already night, so she just had to sleep and go to the office the next day. Now, Sagnika's routine was such that she stayed in the office all day, and at night she would hang out a bit with friends. She would have dinner with them, enjoying the meal and their company, and then return to the PG around 8:09 p.m. 4 days passed like this. Sagnika is normally sitting in her room, quietly doing some of her work, when she suddenly hears the sound of someone entering her room. Sagnika walks over and opens the gate. Standing outside was another girl who said, "From today, I'm your roommate." What did this mean? It meant that the girl was moving into the room with her and would be sharing the living space from that day forward. Sagnika was quite happy that finally she would have some company. The girl comes into the room and places her belongings carefully on the bed. Sagnika is asking the woman for her name. The name of the girl is Rupali. Rupali also works a job, so her schedule is the same. Stay out all day, sleep in the PG at night. Sagnika usually arrived by 8 or sometimes by 8:30, but Rupali always came at around 11 or maybe 11:30. This meant that her job was very hectic and demanding, requiring her to work extra hours every single day. She was also troubled, poor thing. That's why she used to arrive by 11 or 11:30. By PG time, he'd fall asleep anyway. Many times, Sagnika would fall asleep. As time passed by, Sagnika and Rupali gradually became very good friends. Whenever they had some free time on their hands, they would take a short walk around the PG, sometimes even strolling leisurely in the nearby park. Most of the time, they stayed inside their room because Rupali would come at night, so they would only go out at night. Everyone was tired, so they came in, chatted a bit about mother, and went to sleep. This was how their life was going. Once upon a time, Saganika was taking a walk in the nearby park, but she was strolling there alone as usual. Suddenly, some girls who lived in the same PG approached Saganika and said, "Hey, you're the girl from the 3rd floor, right? Room number 306, right?" Saganika says, "Yes, I live here, but what happened?" To this, the girls say, "Look, sister, we're telling you for your own good to leave that room. Leave the room as soon as possible." Saganika doesn't understand what has happened all of a sudden, and she asks, "Why are you suddenly telling me to leave my room?" To this, the girls respond, "We can't explain much right now, but it would be in your best interest to leave that room immediately, and as quickly as possible." Saying this, the girls now leave. Saganika is very confused. What could have happened? I mean, someone just comes up to you out of nowhere and tells you to just leave. Are they threatening me? Are they joking? Are they telling the truth? Saganika couldn't make sense of it. Later that night, when Rupali returned to the room, Saganika told her everything that had happened, about how some girls had told her to leave the room. Rupali asks Saganika, "Who were those people and why were they saying that?" Saganika replies, "I don't know, it was my first time interacting with them. They live downstairs but we don't know each other, so why would they say that? Is there something in this room that we don't know about?" Rupali said, "Forget it, I'm exhausted. Don't talk about all this nonsense. There's nothing like that. They must be having fun. They had their fun, now you're stressing for no reason. Just do one thing, get some sleep. I have to go to the office tomorrow." Rupali says this and goes to sleep. Sagnika thinks it's true. They said their piece and left. "I'm overthinking for no reason. I'll do one thing, I'll go to sleep." Sagnika also goes to sleep after that. Now both Sagnika and Rupali are asleep. It's quite late at night. It was around 2 o'clock a.m. when suddenly there is a commotion in the entire PG. A lot of noise starts happening. Sagnika wakes up and goes outside to see a crowd gathers near room number 203. Sagnika wakes Rupali up and says, "Let's go and see what happened." Rupali says, "Leave it. We have work tomorrow. Just go to sleep." Saying this, Rupali goes back to sleep. But Sagnika wanted to see what exactly happened, so she goes alone to room number 203. When she gets there, she sees a large crowd of girls already gathered. He asks some girls what exactly happened. They inform her that something very bad has happened to the girl who is living in room 203. Now Sagnika goes a little inside to see the girl. When she goes inside, Sagnika notices that it is the same girl who had warned her just the day before. Blood is coming out of the girl's mouth and she isn't saying anything. She's just going somewhere. She's just sitting there, shivering and in a completely shocking state. She can't speak or move. Where is the bus going? Just sitting in one place. After a little while, the PG owners also arrive there. But as soon as they arrive, they ask the girl, "Are you okay? What happened to you? Should we call your parents? Is everything alright?" As soon as the owner asks the girl these questions, she starts crying right there. She starts crying, and while crying she says that she came here. "I saw her with my own eyes. She was standing right in front of me. It is real. It is right here." As she keeps talking, and as soon as that girl said all these things, suddenly all the girls around the room went silent without making a single sound. It was as if the entire room was holding its breath, waiting for what would happen next. They are all looking at each other, signaling to each other, but no one said anything out loud.